So, welcome to the second episode of Know Your Pet. We started this, series of live sessions inspired by you guys, inspired by our community, Wiggles Tribe, and a lot of pet parents and animal lovers connect with us through that platform and keep asking us lots of questions about food, nutrition, health, and general well-being. And our experts are always answering, but what we realized that there was a lot of common doubts that people have about some big subjects, and which is what inspired this session. And last week we had Dr. Dilip. He spoke to us about shedding and nutrition in pets. And what was one thing was very clear in that was that how much we all don't know about them, right? We all think we know them really well, and Kushal will agree, but we don't know a lot about them. It just so happened. I was talking to a friend about we were having general chit chat like pet parents do, and she was telling me about her pet who's got this syndrome, Kushal, which is basically he likes to hoard things, protect things.
Okay.
Even if there is somebody who he knows tries to take something from the room, he tends to get very aggressive. And when I was asking her, have you figured out what's the reason and all, it turns out nobody really knows. She says sometimes I can calm him down, sometimes I can't calm her down. So, and this is just one example.
Okay.
And there are so many other things that happen, right? For example, we've seen so many times you take your dog out for a walk. Who's walking who is always a question. Are you walking the dog? Is the dog walking you?
First question I ask the pet parents: do you take him for a walk, or do they take you for?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
that and much like everything from how they behave at home, how they travel, etc., etc. There's all these things about their behavior, especially that we don't understand so well. So the idea was to kind of today shed light on some of these and have a conversation with you. So obviously, for everyone, Kushal is a professional canine behaviorist and a professional dog trainer. He works with us at Wiggles as our training lead. And so, Kushal, welcome. I think one question that I've always had on my mind is that what made you become a trainer, yaar? And how did you become one? It's such a strange
So
thing.
the
Yeah.
thing, since a kid, I've always had dogs around me, and I was always fascinated, you know, uh, to be with them, to play with them. Uh, in my previous organization, Dogs World India, with the pet shops, we used to get a lot of queries for dog training. And
Hmm.
used to do was we used to इसको दे दिया, like वो area में कौन पहचान का trainer है उसको दे दिया, or
Hmm.
someone or the other we used to give. But it was always on my mind कि यार, why not learn the art of it. So then
Hmm.
I have, and if I have to learn, I have to learn from the best. So then I made my research, and then I found out about the Starmark Academy, which is based in Texas.
Hmm.
So I enrolled for the program, and I got through. And then it was like a 3 months proper dog training course.
Okay.
It was like pretty hectic. It was nice. It was fun because every day I got to learn something new. So
Hmm.
from there, I got certified myself as a professional dog trainer.
Hmm.
And
Hmm. And so tell me, so even when you were studying in the academy, even there you got to, obviously try and train and learn the craft of it while working with dogs. So let's start with tell us your first memory of the dog training incident that you were in, maybe as a student.
so all of the students, so we were total 36 of us when we joined. So
Hmm.
all of us, we were allotted two pets. Okay, one was a bit on the calmer side, and one was a bit on the, I wouldn't say aggressive, but a bit hyperactive.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Samson and Duke were my two pets, which were allotted to me. The Samson was a pit bull, which has been adopted by one of the clients, and she's still in touch with me, and she regularly give me updates. She even sent me a gift for the Christmas from US that thank you
Hmm.
for and training Samsung and all. And the other one was Duke. So initially, Duke was what you can say a bit on the "I'm not gonna listen to you" kind of thing. But
Huh.
then that is how we learn, right? So if I would have got easy dog, I wouldn't have got the opportunity to train this hard dog. So
Hmm.
so we always say this in dog training that every dog teaches you something new. There's
Oh.
some
Hmm.
all the what you can say all the same techniques may not work on those specific dogs, so you have to at times change your
Hmm.
technique. So we say it every time that all the dogs make you learn something new.
So what? Tell me two things that you learned from Samson as a
Two
trainer. What did he teach you?
So Samson, I basically had trained him for everything. So he was properly like a service dog. So he used to do all the tasks of a service dog, walking beside wheelchair, fetching, keys from the cupboard, removing your socks, all of these things that were
Hmm.
taught to him. So me, as a trainer, I can say both of them actually, they made me more patient and more like we have to be patient when you are training a dog. You cannot be, your mind cannot be all over the place, or you cannot get
Right.
excited ki nahi, then it is not easy.
Hmm.
So definitely he taught me to be patient and caring and loving. That was there all the time.
I think this itself is going to be a 1 hour long chat
Yeah,
that we talk about your experiences as a trainer. So we'll keep coming back to it in between. But now that we have a lot more people joining us, let's start talking a little bit about what is dog training and all that stuff. And guys, just a reminder, please keep putting your questions on the chat. I'll take them down, and whenever there's a chance, I'll ask Kushal to answer those. So Kushal, just to kind of let's start with again another story, which I think is which so a lot of people will really relate to. Why don't you? I know Melody is your baby,
yep,
and Melody is also a therapy dog.
yep.
So tell us a little bit about her and how have you trained her? What is it that you do with her as a trainer and as a pet parent?
So Melody came to me when she was 3 years old. She was actually at my dad's friend's farmhouse, which is in Ballapur. So I basically got her for my dad, and he loves singing and into music and shero shairi wo sab pasand hai. That is why she was named Melody. Was not named Melody. A lot of them ask, why did you name her Melody? Is it because
Yeah.
she's done?
She looks like a Melody chocolate though. Her coat and all is also a reminder of that. But yeah.
That was now not why she was named Melody. She was named Melody because uh, of my dad.
Mm,
So she came in my life. So that time I didn't like put more effort in training. But when I went back to the academy and when I came back, that is when I started with a training as a therapy dog. Because
mm,
what I realized was 80% of the dog bites that happen all over India or
mm,
abroad, they are in small children below 12 years of age. And
mm,
maximum dog bites are on the face.
mm,
So I wanted to, take up sessions for the school kids on
mm,
how to treat dogs. What are the things that you're supposed to do with them? What are the things, do's and don'ts with dogs, with pets, with street dogs, how you're supposed to approach them, how you're supposed to feed them. So for
mm,
that, to give them a demo, I wanted a dog which I needed to be very calm and composed.
mm.
Not behavior, not too excited around kids. And kids, some कोई कोई शरारती बच्चे होते हैं उनको हैबिट होती है कान खींच लिया या पूंछ खींच ली they'll touch the tail
Correct.
try to make funny noises. So I needed a dog to be not react to all these situations. So that is how I started training Melody. So whenever I go, so she has been taught to whenever someone approaches her, I ask her to do a sit stay, and that person can come, pet her, play with her, give her
Mm,
treats, and she will be in a calm and composed state, trying to interact. Let the one who has come to her, she will let them pet them comfortably.
mm.
So that is how she has been trained. And now I do take sessions with school children, and it is fun time. The questions that they come up with, it's amazing. So to
Yeah.
interact.
So you mean melodies actually you take melodies help in training sensitizing kids around dog behavior.
Yes, so I even take her to corporates. I even have a session for corporates. A lot of people, pet parents, pet lovers, I would say, not pet parents. Pet
Mm,
lovers come to me and they say that, ki we both are working. How can we plan on taking a dog? So for that, for corporates, I have a session wherein, uh, I tell them how you can plan on getting a dog home.
I see Sammy in the background. He can come say hi to everyone.
Melody just had her meals, so she playing around.
These guys have a lot of fun at Petsville. That was Sammy, another one of our star trainers. Okay, so great. So I'm going to start. I'll go back and forth between what we had sort of a broad conversation theme, but I'll also start taking some questions, and I think this will lead us to some interesting conversation. One was around the most common thing, which I've seen in 90% of my friends who are dog parents, is the trouble when they go on a walk with a dog.
Okay.
Either the dog gets aggressive towards other dogs on the way,
Okay.
or the dog starts to lead them and push and pull, and
Got it.
is basically not listening to anything or not kind of obeying. So how would you, as a trainer, what would you recommend? What would you first diagnose as the issue, and then how could one go about having their dog well behaved on a walk?
Okay, so as I told you earlier, 10 dogs that we get for board and train, out of them, almost 7 to 8 dogs have the same issue of leash walking. Okay,
Hmm.
so the first thing that we see is many of the pet parents, like out of these 10 dogs, these 8 dogs who have the issue of leash walking, usually the pet parents walk them on a harness.
Hmm.
Okay, so harness is something which we use when we want the dog to lead us to somewhere. So the detection dogs, where they help us detect drug, जहाँ पे उनको find करना है, when we want them to lead us, that is
Hmm.
dog on a harness. When we do protection sports, certain scenarios, that is when we put the dog on a harness. When we want the dog to pull us,
Hmm.
if we put it on a normal household pet, he's going to learn to pull on it because it gives them that freedom of movement.
Hmm.
And because they are in front of you, already pulling onto you, they see another dog. The first thing that they want to do is, I want to interact with the same
Correct.
species that I have. Okay, so I want to interact with him. We get nervous as a pet parent that I don't, oh my God, like what is going to happen? I don't know what he's going to do, what the other dog is going to do. The
Hmm.
same happening with the other pet parent. They also do the same thing, getting nervous. Oh my God,
Yeah.
what will happen? How will they bite each other? What is going to happen? And this is when the dog senses that nervous energy and it goes in protection mode.
Got it.
That is
So,
what most of
hmm.
the so half of the pet parent they come dog to dog aggression hai. We just ask them to follow certain drills, put them on a slip leash or a normal collar also, remove
Hmm.
them from harness, teach them to walk besides you properly, you being in the lead, and
Hmm.
most of the problems are solved that way.
Yeah. Now, this is very interesting. The harness versus leash, because I remember you told me this a few months back, and I told you then also I had no idea that the way harness and leash, they have different purposes. Harness is meant for dogs to lead, and leash is meant for you to lead, and
Yeah.
for the dog to follow. So, tell me something. Then, is it right to say that every time people are taking their dogs out for walks, regular evening, morning walks, is it always necessary to put them on a slip leash or a collar and not on a harness, unless it's a sport or unless where they need to lead?
I would definitely recommend this that yes, you should walk your dog on the leash, and I would always want them to be besides you. If
Hmm.
you train your dog properly to walk on the leash, I would want to see a proper slack in the leash. That is what we teach the parents when we give them a proper handover who come for the board and train sessions also. That I
Hmm.
want to see proper slack in the leash. So putting them on a leash, most of the pet parents they are skeptical कि यार नहीं उसको choke होगा ये pulls.
Hmm.
No, train them properly. If you have a good bond with your pet and they understand that okay, I don't have to pull and I have to be next to you, then
Correct.
definitely they are going to start being next to you and you're going to see that proper slack in the leash. And so this is how usually what I do. Many of the pet parents they say कि वो खींच रहा है and they
Hmm.
have excitement. So whenever in the morning time or evening time when you plan to take your pet for a walk, they have that excitement because full day they have rested, they have that burst of energy that बाहर जाना है, सुसु पोटी करनी है, उनको वो भी लगता है कि जल्दी बाहर जाके
Correct.
सुसु. So what I do, this is the routine that I follow. Whenever I take them out for a walk, the first 10 to 15 minutes, I'll let her do her thing. So Melody, I will give her a like I'll give her a proper slack. I will just let her lead around where I know she usually does the susu potty. And after she's done with the susu potty, then it is like a proper walk. And
Hmm.
being a now being summers, I take her for around 2 to 3 kilometers walk in the morning. But
Mm-hmm.
when the weather is good, I take her for 7 to 8 kilometers walk. And that is like a proper brisk walk. I don't take any breaks, and she has to continuously, walk with me.
So
So
first,
that's
yeah.
about.
So you're saying basically first give them some slack so that they're able to explore and their curiosity calms down a little, and then you sort of start doing the actual walking with them, where then the leash should not be as slack and stuff.
Yes. So then, so ideally, how we used to do it at the academy was, we used to just put them on the leash, go let them in the open area, let them play, run around, do susu potty. Then okay, now come back. Now
Mm-hmm.
we'll do the training stuff. We used to follow, but now living in the city, possible, right? We cannot leave the dogs off leash. I do get
Yeah.
a lot of for that as well. That मुझे मेरे dog को off leash
Mm-hmm.
सिखाना. Yes, I can train your dog for off leash only if you are going to compete in a competition. Yeah, mostly for that only. Or else you are on a farmhouse. तभी मैं सिखाऊंगा. But not in a society, because to teach an off leash walk, your dog needs to have a recall which is 11 on 10, not even a 10 on 10. No matter what he is doing, he should leave that and come to you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of distractions happening, and not all the people out there who walk in the society are, fond of pets, or they might be afraid. So I usually don't recommend that when you take them out for a walk in the society. I always want them to be on leash and properly walking beside you.
Got it. Got it. So, one question that it makes me wonder, because this is now, if you're talking about how to take your dog out for a walk and small things like this, right? So, would you say that every dog, literally, especially dogs who are living as pets, they need to be trained in some way or the other, or is it some special cases? What do you, as a trainer, think about it?
Okay, so all dogs need to. Okay, so if you look at so dogs, they have descended from wolves, right?
Hmm.
Have domesticated them over the days. Basically, they earlier, during civilization, what used to happen was uh, humans used to cook. So these wild wolves, which were out there, they used to try and, because of the smell of the food, they used to try and come to the civilization.
Hmm.
The aggressive ones were the ones which were, bhaga dete the unko. And
Hmm.
the timid ones, that is how they started, humans started feeding them. And that
Hmm.
is how they become docile. And, the ones with the good temperament, they started living with the human. That is how we integrated, and that is how dogs were, later born.
Yeah.
So, uh, definitely, all of them, they have a different temperament. And because we have domesticated a wild animal, we
Hmm.
need to train them to learn to live with us.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
the rules of the wild, they have a totally different mindset. Survival of the fittest, leader of the pack. These are some things that they follow. Dominance behavior. ये सब चीजें हैं जो वो follow करते हैं.
Hmm.
That is why it is always essential to train a dog how to learn to live with us. I
And
get a lot of
yeah.
pet that कि उसका सोने का टाइम हो गया है, तो वी
Hmm.
वोंट. आई एम लाइक उसका खेलने का टाइम हो गया तो मुझे काम छोड़ के खेलना पड़ता है. आई
Hmm.
लाइक he has come to live he has come to live with you. Let
Hmm.
him act according to your timings.
So, a part of this, also what you're saying is because it's a very biological thing, there are different species.
Mm-hmm.
And while we all love them as our kids, but at the end of the day, you also have to respect them for being the animal that they are
Yes.
and give them the kind of, freedom, balance training so that you are able to have a good sort of relationship with them. They have a happy life. There's no this thing. But is it also not important for especially for the pet parents to train themselves uh, in terms of when it comes to training a dog? I've heard you say that to me earlier, that more than half the training is actually training people on how to behave with the dog, and then the dog is fine. So tell me a little more about that.
Okay, so for me, I always prefer training the pet parents.
Hmm.
Reason being, so a lot of people, they request me कि आप घर पे आके train कर सकते हो क्या? I say yes, definitely we can do that. But I am only going to spend 1 hour with your pet.
Hmm.
right? Rest of the 23 hours, or if I come every alternate day, the next 47 hours, the pet is going to be with you. And if
Yeah.
you are going to, not follow the rules of the training that I'm doing, or how strict I am. So for me, it is like my everyday thing, right? So for me, we don't have to think, it automatically comes to us. For you to learn that and, match that level, it is going to take time. So if you are going to not follow up with the training, it is
Hmm.
so for me, I always prefer training the pet parents that you have to do certain things like this. This is what you are going to follow. So that is like a homework. So next
Correct.
47 hours, you have to strictly follow this.
Got it. Even if you feel like as I've seen this, noticed this in some pet parents I've interacted with, that you as a trainer, you're a professional, right? So even if it comes to giving the dog the right kind of direction and guidance, if even if that means being a little strict with them, you don't have an issue. But I know a lot of pet parents, we all get like, यार ये तो बच्चा है, इसके साथ ऐसे कैसे करेंगे? Do you face that a lot? Do people go through that?
Face that a lot, especially when we tell them उसको हार्नेस से उतार के हमें लीश पे लगाना पड़ेगा. They are
हाँ.
like, को choke हो जाएगा, उसे लग जाएगा,
Hmm.
all sorts of things. And the other thing which I tell them, we are going to use balanced dog training techniques. So if necessary, हम उसको punish भी करेंगे, but punishment is just going to be with the help of corrections, which are going to be on the leash. So
Hmm.
get them कि नहीं नहीं, like yeah, we are scared, we
Hmm.
don't we don't like this sort of training. Do it just in a purely positive way. So positive reinforcement se try karo. So I tell them, yes, I am going to try to do it in a positive reinforcement.
Hmm. Hmm.
Necessary, I am going to punish him also, because
Hmm.
I want to get it. वो behavior मुझे जल्दी, I want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
If not, it is going to take a lot of time. The other thing is, your pet, if he comes to bite me, he is not thinking कि यार मेरे दांत लगेंगे इसको. He is just going to show his natural instinct. So, right. So before him doing that, we have to show him what is the right behavior.
Got it. Got it. Interesting. So you have to be a little like with kids only. I mean, you can love your kid, but at some point you have to be a little strict with them
Yes.
and teach them
So
the.
one example which I give is, यार मतलब we all love our kids, but कल आके वो तुम्हें गाली दे देगा तो तुम चुप बैठोगे, तुम थप्पड़ लगाओगे, right? So it is the pets also. कि when he is doing something wrong, to teach him the right behavior, at times you have to do certain things, which
Yeah.
is for what we do is with the help of corrections.
Correct. So as a parent, we all need to kind of take responsibility and make the hard choices, even when emotionally we are feeling like यार ये तो गलत है, ऐसा बच्चे को क्यों तकलीफ देनी है. But that's a time where you need to understand that that is for the benefit of your pet, that is for the benefit of your relationship with them, and so that they don't get into any trouble like kids.
Right.
So let's talk about a couple of more common things that some questions have come in and some people have asked is separation anxiety, especially what happened. And again, a small story from a friend of mine lives in Gurgaon. He brought home an Alsatian pup. He adopted him from the street, and it came in during COVID,
Mm-hmm.
complete lockdown, right? So the dog only lived with the family, completely indoors. And then what happened was, I remember as the lockdown started opening, people started visiting each other. I was in Delhi and I was going to see him at his house. And he told me, thoda dhyan se aana. He's a little unfriendly.
Okay.
Now, he knows I'm comfortable around most animals. So I told him कि काम करते हैं, I will stand outside the gate and I will first let him sniff me, let him come out and walk with me outside before I go into his territory. So we did all that. But largely the thing is that the idea is that dogs who've grown up during COVID, especially the last two lockdowns, they're very used to dependent on a certain set of people in
Mm-hmm.
their environment, right? And now that those set of people have started going out to work again, we hear a lot about separation anxiety in parents. So how can one go about as a parent? What can you do about it? What kind of training or hacks can one employ to help the dogs feel better?
Okay, so there are usually three things that a pet does when he goes in separation anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, First thing is he is going to be destructive in the house. Okay. Second is he might pee and poop all around the house. Pet
Mm-hmm.
parents यार ये सताने के लिए गुस्से में आके किया है इसने, but no, that is not the case. He has done it in stress.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
Third thing would be that he will keep on crying the whole time. Okay.
Hmm.
इनमें से एक करेगा या तीनों भी कर सकते हैं या दो चीजें. So this is
Hmm.
what you in separation anxiety. Yes, now due to the COVID situation that we have, a lot of pets are facing this
Yeah.
problem. So if you are already facing it, what we need to do, so we definitely we have started something called as the anxious pet program, in which
Hmm.
we for separation anxiety. How now the pet parents can start working on the separation anxieties. I would want them to, work on the sit stay, or a place bed or a crate for the dog, a place of its own.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
let the dog spend more time. Give it an interactive toy in which the dog will be busy. You can give him a yak milk bone also, or a interactive toy with lot of treats inside, or peanut butter. You can give all of that. Let the
Hmm.
dog inside the crate or on the bed or
Hmm.
in a room on his own. Just casually walk out of the room. Don't
Hmm.
big deal. Come back in, give him few more treats. Let the dog start to be alone. Let him be independent. One
Got.
thing also which we tell all the pet parents is no hellos, no goodbyes.
Hmm.
Separation anxiety, this can be one of the reason how it can get triggered.
Hmm.
So basically, why we say no hellos, no goodbyes is because before leaving the house, if you interact with your pet, that many pet parents, they have that habit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be back in an hour, I'll be back in 2 hours, and we
Yeah.
get extra cozy and cuddly with our
Correct.
dogs. We are gonna leave them, and they understand our body language, and they're like, okay, what is happening? You're talking cutely to me, there must be something for me.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
we close the door on their face.
Correct.
So they get anxious that what just happened, he was just talking to me, where did that guy go?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
He's already anxious. Then after that, after coming home, he's already anxious. What is the first thing that we do? अरे मेरा बच्चा, अरे अकेला था, कितना टाइम अकेला था. We just rewarded that anxious behavior.
Correct.
घर पे
Correct.
आने,
Oh.
just all over the place. Oh, I was alone. Yeah, I was scared. And we're just petting. Oh my God, are. So we just rewarding that anxious behavior. So
Interesting.
this what also is one of the reasons why is separation anxiety. But yes, so start keeping your pets alone. Let them be independent.
Hmm.
Except for, I would say, the toy dogs, toy breeds, या lab dogs जो हम बोलते हैं, they were meant to be with the
Hmm.
pet the time. Most of the time they are meant to be, spending time. But the other breeds like Labradors हो गए, Beagles हो गए,
Hmm.
Golden Retriever, German Shepherds, all of these, they are independent. They were bred to be hunting dogs, hai, shepherd dogs, hai, they are meant to be away from the people. So start keeping them alone. From
Got.
get them from the puppy stage. Definitely, पहले से let them have a place of their own. Crate train them. You can give a bed of their own. उनकी खुद की room रहने दो. Let them be on their own. Don't let them be sticking to you all the time.
Yeah. Again, I think it again comes down to the same thing, right? You have to respect the animal and you have to understand the animal's needs and behave accordingly, not like you're only behaving with a human child. Uh, but, very interesting. So, one thing I want to ask you about, and this is something I hear again from people, is that crate training is bad or keeping a dog in a crate is a bad idea. And you just said that they need to be made comfortable in their own space, and that could be a crate. So as a trainer, how do you tackle this when people ask you this question?
This is a question which gets a lot of criticism all the time.
Yeah.
But like, क्या तो थोड़ी ना पिंजरे में बांध के रखना है. We want to leave him open. Then I
uh,
ask, have you had any incident where your puppy has bitten onto your chappals, he has eaten chappals, he has
hmm,
bitten to electric wire, ये सब चीजें हुई है. बोले yes, it has happened. What if it would have been worse? I have had cases where we have got puppies who have bitten onto live wire and they have
a
got
lot.
electric. We have got puppies who have eaten chappals, socks, all
Hmm,
of this. Then we are literally waiting कि कब बाहर आएगा. Then we have to take them to the give them
yeah.
medicine, give them puke. So it is always the best bet to keep to crate train your pet.
Hmm,
Okay,
hmm,
we have to understand, again, going back to the same thing, they have evolved from wolves. They have, right? Where do they stay in the wild? They stay in dens. Why do they stay in dens? Because they feel safe, they feel secure from other predators, they feel safe and secure from the other
Mm.
things that are happening. Thunderstorm ho gaya, rains, the weather outside, all these things. So they
Mm.
stay. Crate is what it is, something similar to that. I'm sure a lot of pet parents must have observed कि if a pet is unwell or if at times it is scared of thunderstorm, fireworks, ऐसे चीजों से उसे डर लगता है, then they usually go in a corner, छुप के
Under,
बैठते
under
बेड
the
के
bed. Yeah.
जाके. Why do they do that? Because they feel safe and secure कि भाई मुझे यहाँ पे कोई कुछ कर नहीं सकता. I feel safe and secure. So
Mm.
how about you training your pet right from the start that this is your place, this is where you are going to be, this is your bedroom. For
Mm.
us, take our instance. Where do we feel most comfortable when we have a tired day? We are
Mm.
like यार पे जाके bed पे लेटना है, आराम करना है, right?
Correct.
We consider that space our own. So how about we train our pet right from the start that this is your place, this is where you're going to be, you're going to have the best of the time. This is your bedroom. So
Yeah, I really like that. I think if you start to relook at the crate as the dog's bedroom, it becomes easier because I think it's more emotional. That crate feels like confined space. It feels like आप उसको बंद कर रहे हो. But I think what you're saying is that confined space is what makes them feel comfortable in stress matters, etc. So it's important to do that.
so all our protection dogs that we are training,
Mm.
I'm working with a lot of them. All those dogs are they are crate trained. The first
Mm.
thing they to do after they are done with the session is, भाई मुझे मेरे जगह पे जाना है, I want to rest.
That's a comfort. Yeah.
Yeah, is their combined. And they spend a good, like throughout the 24 hours, they must be spending 8 to 9 hours inside the crate only resting. More than
Yeah.
that.
So
So
we have to
train them.
look at their space kind of. So basically, for all of us who have always been dicey about crates or not, it's important to just know that that is their safe space and that is
Yeah,
their happy where
yeah.
they don't feel stress. So don't feel bad about crate training your dog.
By car, it is the safest option. I've
Mm.
seen, getting very anxious, jumping around behind in the car. It is at times. So I travel with alone with Melody. So
Mm-hmm.
Melody doesn't have that temperament, so that is why she is. I just let her be. But I have seen dogs, jumping, getting. If they see another dog, they want to jump and get out of the window, bark at the other dogs. All these things do happen. So there
Right.
is a that you might meet with an accident. So to
Yeah.
avoid, it is the best that your dog is crate trained.
I've seen that both in dogs and even in cats. Like when I travel with my cats, which I very rarely, but say I'm taking them to a vet. Earlier, I used to just put them in the backseat of my car, but they were very anxious. So I think I took someone's advice and they said put them in a carrier.
Mm-hmm.
And inside a carrier, there I've seen them to be much more calm. They don't like going inside the carrier initially because that's not how they live the whole day. But just in the car, that's the place where they are most comfortable. Yeah, interesting. So while we're talking of traveling, I know a lot of people like to take their dogs on road trips.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when you are taking them on a road trip, you also don't want to, keep controlling them all the time or keep them on a tight leash that should not. So, what are some of the things that you can do while you're traveling in car, or even when you're taking your dog outdoors in public places, etc.? What are some of the good do's and don'ts so there's no trouble for anyone?
So first is, as I told you, what we discussed, leash walking. The dog should have a calm temperament, should
Hmm.
properly walk besides you on the leash. Whenever you are traveling, so one thing that I do, whenever I plan to travel long distance, I would give her food well in advance. I would keep her tummy light. I would probably give her curd rice or something which is going to keep her tummy light. Give her plenty of water and give her water. Give her a proper potty break before getting her in the car.
Hmm.
Carry her essentials. I have a first aid kit in my car in case
Hmm.
कुछ emergency आती है, तो small first aid kit. And the other things that she's required, her food, wet food or dry food is what I prefer. Her collapsible food bowl. All are these things which I usually carry with me whenever I plan to
Yeah.
go.
And so generally, if your dog is well trained to be on leash and is understands your gestures and your commands well, then going out with them also becomes much easier.
Yes.
Which a lot of pet parents I know they want. Everybody likes to take their pets out for road trips.
Such a way I give the leash to you. I just ask you, okay, you can go
Uh,
with. She will follow you. She's happy to roam around with people. She does.
I've seen that. I've seen that firsthand. She's also very good at getting out of the car. I remember you showing that video to me where she doesn't jump from the seat till the time you actually tell her that it's okay to step out, and you do that in elevators also.
Yes, so this is something we call as door manners, which is a part of our 2 weeks board and train package. Also, we teach the pet that.
Mm.
So I don't want an open door is not an invitation to rush in or rush out.
Yeah.
So always she has to wait for my command. So that is what we do. We make them give a sit stay. I will walk
Mm.
out first, then she's supposed to follow. So
Mm.
in it is the same way. I just open the door. I ask her to wait. I pick up her leash. I will take my bag and then I ask her to get off the car.
Yeah, and that's also important because you never know what's on the other side of the door.
Yes, yes.
They enter and maybe there's another dog.
Well, where we have so many dogs coming in, going out. So I
Yeah.
always want to ensure that I'm the first one going in and looking, okay, is it safe? Is any dog on leash, off leash? So I can tell the pet parent, that please leashen up your dog and, hold him next to you.
Yeah. So we have a very interesting and very broad question. You see how you can answer this. I'll just check. Okay, so somebody is asking, what is the easiest way to ensure that your pet becomes people friendly?
Easiest way to ensure. So one thing we say that training starts the day the dog comes home. So as soon as he comes home, first thing you have to build a good bond with your pet.
Hmm.
Once he builds that trust with you, then you can ask, people coming in the house. Initially, I always would want the distractions to be less and new people coming in and meeting the new pet where he is most comfortable. So
Hmm.
any coming in the house, you can, casually ask them to let the dog come and don't make any eye contact. Let the
Hmm.
dog come and have a confidence of his own. Let him go and like smell around. And once he is comfortable, then you can ask them to, give the guest a treat. You can
Hmm.
give the dog a treat. You can, then move it to the next step. You can take it down in the parking lot.
Hmm.
Ask बिल्डिंग वॉचमैन है या और कोई लोग है उनको बोलिए कि जस्ट कम interact with me and let my pet come around sniff you get
Yeah,
comfortable. So that is how you can introduce to different kind of people and
got
you
it.
the pet confident that okay, these people coming in meeting my pet parent
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
they are giving me treats also, they have a positive association with people coming in and greeting them.
Understood. Understood. Yeah, I mean, it's. I've seen this firsthand. You do this a lot, where you
Yes.
reward melody for every time somebody can come and sit next to her or something.
So
Uh,
she is no, this is now the other way around. She takes that as a बोलते हैं ना क्या बोलते हैं टोल जैसा हो गया वो. So if
हाँ.
I coming and petting her, she will look at me and bark that where is my treat? You like वो पकड़ मुझे pet कर रहा है. मुझे treat चाहिए. Give him a treat so that he can give it to me.
So there are two very interesting questions. One is, how do you ensure that your dog is dog friendly? Like how? So one is obviously people friendly we spoke about, but how do you ensure that your dog gets friendly towards other dogs?
Okay, so this is also one thing which a lot of pet parents do कि नहीं मेरा dog बहुत friendly है and they let them just
Hmm.
like let them go off and let the other pet smell. So there
Hmm.
is a way how we actually do the dog to dog socialization.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
for that, again, we need to be in control. If I'm comfortable, so what I explained to you earlier, he harness where the dog is in front, he wants to greet, he wants to meet, but we
Hmm.
get, so that is why I would always want the pet to be by your side. Okay, calm and composed. I go to the other pet parent. I want him to follow the same thing. You are comfortably talking to each other, then you can go down, feed the other pet, you can
Hmm.
pet him and ask that pet parent to do the same with your dog. Once we all are comfortable, then you can let those dogs interact with each other so that the dog already established that okay, my humans, they are comfortable around each other. So this dog is safe. This person is also safe. That is after which you can, let them interact with each other, and not the other way around कि आप अपना देख लो, अगर झगड़ा हो, हम दूर. So I don't want it to be that way.
Yeah, you have to realize basically you're always with a child, like for the time. And funny thing is for 10, 15 years while your dog's with you, you're always with the child. So you can't ever think that if the child wants to do whatever they want to do without any sort of reinforcement, it becomes difficult. But again, I think it's a similar question about a Labrador who's very aggressive to strangers, and what are the ways to calm him. So, see, one is obviously how to train them, but say a dog does get aggressive. So, how do you start to calm them down? What are some things that pet parents can do when their dog is getting aggressive at other people immediately to sort of ease the situation?
So I get this question a lot. So there are a lot of factors that need to be considered. कि वो, first thing is why this behavior started. What were the instances? So it maybe that dog was earlier on a harness. उसको आदत पड़ गई है that I need to protect my parent. Most of the यही होता है. I need to. So whenever I ask for a video from a pet parent, I get this query as a behavioral issue. I ask them a video where I can analyze कि actual में क्या हो रहा है, and then the techniques that they are supposed to change. The easiest way, what they can do to avoid this is be in control. I want the pet to be behind you.
Got
If
it.
go ahead, I want you to take him away from that situation. So, no, I'm not going to let you go near him. We are going to go away. So if you do this more often, the pet is going to learn कि अच्छा मैं जितना कोशिश करूंगा ये मुझे दूर लेके जाएगा, and he would that behavior वो कम करने लगेगा.
Got it.
One way. The other way is you need to be in control. That I don't want you barking at the other dog. Be calm and composed, and let that dog come and meet you and greet you.
There's another very, very interesting question that has come in. I was going to ask something similar. Is basically how, we all know that you should start training your dog that when they're puppies because they're easiest to mold at that time, right? Can adult dogs be also equally easily trained, like say 4 years, 5 years olds?
Yes, any dog is trainable. You need to be, so there are three things that are essential in dog training: timing, consistency, and motivation. You have to get things right, and you can train any dog. So I have even trained dogs who are 8, 9 years old also.
Okay.
Just what happens at a later stage is the motivation level towards food or toys वो थोड़ी कम हो जाती है. So it becomes a bit task. You need to put in a bit more effort, and you need to be patient. That's about it. Yes, you can train any dog.
Any dogs. Interesting. And there was another question that I skipped earlier. Was some dogs are escape artists, like वो कहीं से भी निकल जाते हैं. So how can you address that behavior? Can we do something to help that?
So most of the dogs which are escape artists, you can say they have a lot of energy. We have one over here.
Yeah.
Very, very cute dog. And he is an escape artist. And we literally we look up to ये अब कहाँ से he will find a way. It is like that. And कहाँ से he's finding ways. So what happens with him is has that ample energy. If with that energy to right use, definitely we can make him do a lot of things. So that's what you need to do. You need to channelize that energy in a proper way. It is as एक मस्तीखोर बच्चा है, what we इसको किसी sport में enroll कर दो, so that he gets that energy out over there. So it is similar to for dogs also. You need to utilize that energy in a specific way. You can do obedience training. You can teach them clicker tricks, something which can go hand in hand with your own profession. I have pet parents who go for trekking. So we teach the dog train karte, how you can carry their own stuff. The pets get harnesses where the pet can carry their own stuff. So we teach them this trekking behavior where they can take the pets for a walk along with them. So you need to get that use in a proper place.
Yeah. Basically, energy, like a child who eats a lot of sugar at night and doesn't sleep. It's like that. You have to learn how to burn their energy and help them do that. Another very common question, Kushal, that I think a lot of people would have is, can you train a pet from scratch by yourself? Like, or is professional training really the only way to go about it? And what do you think about it? Is it possible for pet parents to do the same thing?
It is definitely so. You can watch YouTube videos and other things. You can read a lot, and you can start off with the basic things. But as I told you earlier, also, key maybe those techniques. So if I am recording a video, I exactly know the technique what I have to do, but that is with respect to that particular dog. So
Hmm.
it may not be necessary that your dog may follow the same thing. You might have to alter things, do a sit or do a down, train him in a certain way, in a different way than what
Hmm.
the usual thing is. So at that times is when we need to step in, and we tell the pet parent, okay, do this in this certain way, and you will be able to manage. So professional training at times of behavioral issues, yes, definitely it is recommended. But with commands and all, you can start off with the basic stuff. If you are struggling, then you can definitely reach out, and we can guide you in a proper way.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's a good build that you can teach some basics, but obviously complicated things, because at the end of the day, you need to understand the body language, which is where we started, right? That we don't know our pets at all very well.
Yes, body language, timing,
Yeah.
has to be. So a lot of times, so main thing is you always have to reward for the calm behavior. So even
Hmm.
when you, I see pet parents, okay, आपको commands आते हैं, हाँ, उसको सब commands आते हैं. Okay, I ask them, make your dog sit. So
Hmm.
they're like, sit, beta, sit. They're repeating 15 times. And then the dog out of boredom, like, हाँ, ठीक है भाई, sit करता हूँ, मुझे वो treat दे दो.
Kushal.
ट्रीट के लिए कर रहा हूँ दे दो मुझे so I don't want that behavior. I
Hmm.
want, you are commanding the dog, right? So I want it to be like a sit. At most I would repeat it the second time, but I have to follow up and make that dog sit. And in a
Yeah.
composed behavior is what I want to reward. I don't want him like sit kiya wapas उठ गया, so we are rewarding that just because he did that.
Yeah.
So
And
that,
dogs are quite smart, no? I mean, they also get these. They also understand what are you trying to do, and if you don't take charge, then, like you said, they will become the alpha, and
yes,
they will start
yes,
training on you. कि
yes.
अभी हम तुम्हें train करते हैं treats के लिए.
Yes, so they always try to challenge. वो
Hmm.
always होता है. So even the dogs which go for board and train, we get this a lot. We train them. Pet parents आते हैं. We show them. We give the leash. They are like यार हमारे साथ नहीं कर रहा.
हाँ,
The
correct.
dog always challenges कि जो मेरा behavior इनके साथ है मैं वही रहूंगा. Then we
हाँ,
explain that that you have to be a bit strict. You have to be bit stern, and he will follow. And then they get the results, and then they are really happy.
basically, you like we said earlier, the training is also about training the parents, not
Yes,
just training the pet, to
yes.
train the parents on how to behave with the pet and all that. एक और, we have some more 10 more minutes left before we have to wind up, but just I want to touch on one more topic, and then we'll hear one nice story from you. I know there's one story I love hearing that you tell, but we'll come to it in the end. And all of you should wait for this story because this will make you cry. It made me cry. But before we get there, a lot of people, especially us who live in cities and all, smaller apartments and stuff, giving physical activity, doing these kind of, and especially also because we work, most of us have jobs and stuff, right? So, what are some of what are the kind of breeds that people should prefer who live in cities, who have smaller setups? And second, what are some of the, daily disciplines that we should follow in our life so that, the dog gets benefit from our behavior as well?
Okay. So when a pet parent approach me, we are planning to buy a pet. The
Hmm.
first thing that I ask them to do is I ask them, okay, you are going to adopt a street dog in your area.
Hmm.
Adopt, and I don't want you to get him home. All that I want you to do is follow a routine. You're gonna go buy dog food,
Hmm.
go feed him in the morning, go feed him in the evening, okay? And you're gonna go for a walk. Even if that dog doesn't come with you for a walk, it is okay. You are going to imagine that, okay, I have got a dog home and I'm taking him for a walk.
Yeah.
You know, when we get a new pet, to get that routine set is a bit of a task. So if you
Hmm.
start first, by doing this, what you manage is you get to learn the finances कि कितना लगेगा, costing क्या है. Second would be, is it integrating in our system? Are we able to adjust? Not be कि मैंने 2 दिन दिया पर 2 दिन मुझे टाइम नहीं मिला तो मैंने नहीं दिया. Are you gonna do that with your own pet? We can't, right? So that is why I always ask the first thing whenever I have a session that we want to get a pet. This is the thing that I tell them कि 1 महीने के लिए ये follow करो, then come back to me, then we will have a proper session. So then
Got
they come back, then I ask them their lifestyle. It is possible to keep larger dogs, German Shepherds, Rottweilers, Labradors, Golden Retrievers. It is possible to keep them in a flat system, yes, but provided you give them plenty of exercise, which is
got it.
बहुत सारे लोग गोल्डन रिट्रीवर क्यों लिया, नहीं दिखने में बहुत प्यारा है, हमने ऑनलाइन पढ़ा कि दे आर फैमिली डॉग. बोला यस दे आर फैमिली डॉग, बट डिड यू आल्सो रीड दैट दे वर bred for hunting? they are
They
they
should,
are duck hunters to retrieve the ducks that they used to hunt.
correct.
You read about that? So what does that mean? They need that exercise, and if you give them that exercise, they are going to find a way to get that energy out.
Yeah. So basically, you need to, like how when you're having a new child, you have to prepare, right? Months before your preparation start, you start painting rooms, reading books about parenting and childcare, and start preparing yourself and your routine. So perhaps not 10 months in advance, but you should start at least a month and a half in advance.
Yes.
Prepare yourself and your life for having a dog. That's how it will be most joyful for you.
Yes.
And that question of kids also leads me to another question that Anushka has asked: that how can one introduce their child to a dog, and the do's and don'ts around it? Because we have again lots of young people now who are getting dogs home. They have smaller kids also, or the kid comes into the family after dog's been there. So how do you introduce a child and a dog so that it's safe for both?
Okay, so we have got for our board and train, I guess we had got 2 such dogs. One was a Beagle and the other one was an Indie. So
Okay.
we were planning to have children, and like the wife was already expecting, and then those pets had come to us for training. So how we go about with the training is whenever we are training, we have baby sound, running behind on the the crying sound, the funny sounds that they make, all those. Then we slowly we will introduce them to a doll. The doll will be first. We will be holding that, giving the all of this. So basically, we condition the pet around the doll, and we especially for these trainings, we get a doll who makes those noises. The crying noise, which are pre-recorded inside the doll. So
Yeah.
that introduction, then slowly we let the pet come sniff around, get comfortable with the. But this is a slow process. I don't want it to be the first day, you start
Correct.
and directly introduce the doll and see what it happens. That is not how we do it. We want it to take one session at a time, slowly introduce to a point that the dog understand that okay, this is also going to be a part of my life now, and
Yeah.
this baby is going to come, and I have to live like this with the baby.
And tell me, this is about having a professional actually take the dog through that process. But what about in case you don't have a professional, or accidentally you had a baby, or accidentally you got a dog? Happens a lot of times. But then what do you do? Like, how do you at home? What are the do's and don'ts around kids and dogs which you should you follow?
So uh, first thing for dogs is you need to train them to learn to live with you. No getting on beds. They should have a place of their own. Feeding time. We should eat first. After that, you should feed your dogs. There are a lot of reasons that it will take a lot of time. Actually, we are short on time.
With,
So correct.
uh,
Tell you. So these are all the rules that we follow at home.
hmm,
Kids, do not, jada, don't make sudden movement around pets. Don't try to
hmm,
them whenever they are eating or if they are in possession of a toy or something, which is
hmm.
they like a lot, or disturb them in their crate. It is similar to how we would not like to be disturbed in our bedroom. So if they are comfortably lying in the crate, do not try to disturb them. Let them be on their own. Don't make sudden movements, and That's about it, I guess. There are a lot of things actually depending on the household. लोग कितने हैं, environment क्या है, so उसके ऊपर it depends from household to household. What are
I
the
think
things?
we need session 2 of this for sure because there's so much that even I want to know, and so many people would want to know, especially pets at home.
Yeah.
Some of the important things for to follow for their own safety and well-being. But we will schedule that soon. I guess if everybody really wants it, then we can do it in a few days from now. But before we end, I think you told me this story about the dog who you recently adopted, who couldn't see, and I'm not going to take any names because of identity things, but I know that you love her and you really worked with her a lot and you work with her every day. So do you want to share that what all do you do with her? How is she doing, and how has she taken to it, the training?
So she's really doing great. So this is the first time that I am, being a part of something like this. So even I am. So as I told you earlier, that every pet teaches you a lot. So she definitely teaches me a lot because
Mm,
I have something planned in training and I try that, and then I'm kind of okay. I need to change my technique. I need to work with something else because whatever
mm,
at times, most of the time, not at times, most of the time it didn't work, so I had to change. So she is definitely very good at the basic obedience commands and
mm,
does that a lot. So now I'm like training her to so basically we call it target training. So she has to reach a certain target on which I have a specific scent. So she has to follow that scent, reach that target. That is when she comes and earns her reward, which is a food based.
yeah.
So we make her work for her food. She doesn't get food on the platter. So every
Mm.
time earn her rewards.
I know I've seen her over the last few months. I've seen her grow into a very confident girl.
Yeah.
She's super. Like I've seen the change that I think your work with her has kind of brought about. But it's a lovely story. I mean, is there any other questions? I'll just wait for a couple of minutes, or else we're going to close this session for the day, and we'll sync back again on what are the timings for our next session. We will definitely be doing a part 2 of this with Kushal, so please look out for that. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, please join Wiggles Tribe. It's India's largest community of pet parents on Facebook. The link is there in our bio. If you have any questions there for Kushal, for any of our doctors, they'll be happy to kind of answer that, and we'll be happy to interact with you. But that's pretty much all. Thank you, Kushal. This is just the starting, so I'm not going to say this was amazing or anything, but it
Always
was.
a pleasure. It is always nice interacting and talking on topics related to training.
I've got last question. Can dogs be trained to not run at cats? I know who's asking this question.
To not
Maybe
run
one
at cats. So
this.
yes, you can definitely train your dog to not run at cats. Work on building a very good bond with your pet, and uh, for the dog, you should be like कि मुझे बाकी कुछ नहीं चाहिए. He's the best person I have. I don't need to do all these unnecessary things, and definitely it is possible. We have, in fact, in our office only, we have seen that
Yeah.
they they're both there together.
Oh yeah.
So you can
Have both cat and multiple dogs around them, and none of them actually they go at each other, but they don't go at the cat.
yeah.
So, it is quite possible. But super, thanks Kushal, thanks everyone for joining. Once again, the reminder: please join Wiggles Tribe. You can ask all of these questions there.